Hey guys, what's shaking? I promised you guys a video on stoic philosophy and from the Roman Empire. Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius lived his life by it. It's about living in the now, not letting the outside world affect you as best as possible. We pretty much all know that with Parkinson's, stress is a huge killer. It affects our symptoms by 1,000,000%. Basically, what it is it's developing self-control as a means to overcoming destructive emotions so that they don't eat you up inside, and you can deal with life a little better, hopefully ease some of your symptoms by living in the now and only focusing on the things you can control. Again, Stoicism has been around forever. How in the world I just stumbled upon it, I don't know, but I'm going to try my best. I've been doing it for a couple of days, and I definitely see an improvement in my symptoms. So I'm hoping it's all good news from here on in. So I'm going to go in depth a little bit and give you guys a little bit of a basic core of some of its principal philosophies, okay? Here we go. Okay, core foundation number one. When life throws you stones, how will you react? Human nature has taught us that basically when people throw stones, we're going to be hurt. We're going to be hurt by that. Basically, what Stoic philosophy is going to tell you is that when people throw stones, it's their way of taking weight off of their own shoulders and throwing it onto somebody else because they can't deal with it. So basically, what you should learn is that when somebody throws stones your way, don't let it hurt. Don't take it on. Don't let it drag you down. Don't let the weight of somebody else's stones drag you down. The whole point of it is to use it as a tool, so to speak. Take that stone. What have I learned from it? What have I learned by this person throwing this stone? Take those stones and build yourself a nice core foundation, stronger than anybody else, to eliminate yourself from future hurt. Because if you learn something from every stone that's thrown your way, and you build a huge foundation, like a fortress, so to speak, surrounding you, where all you care about is how you deal with it, your inner peace. People can't hurt you. That's pretty much the whole point of this. Core philosophy number two, act as if nothing affects you. Now, I know that sounds funny. It sounds almost impossible, but it's really not. I kind of, to put it in layman's terms, it's like, when people say, don't let people get the best of you. When people try and hurt you, you're only giving them more fuel if you let them show you if you let them see that it's hurting you. This is true, but at the end of the day, it's not about them. All this whole philosophy is about is how things affect you and how you deal with it. So the whole point is, it's about regaining emotional control for yourself. So when people try and hurt you, whether it be intentional or not intentional, it's not even so much about throwing it back in their face, like say you can't hurt me. It's not about that. It's about you retraining yourself to learn that you cannot affect outside influences, anything, any variable, person, place, things, words, actions. If you start to retrain your brain to not let things affect you, will it aggravate the other person who's trying to hurt you? Yeah, I'm sure it will. But at the end of the day, it's not about them. It's about you regaining emotional control back and just saying, okay, they're trying to hurt me. I'm not going to let them. I'm not going to let somebody ruin my day. Again, the only person that could ruin your day is you. It's how you choose to deal with the stones that are thrown your way. So sometimes they say you have to fake it till you make it. I'm not a big believer in that, but it's kind of the same thing. Until you could build up your wall and until you could it becomes second nature to regain your emotional control, act as if nothing bothers you because you're retraining your brain. Even if you're acting at first, eventually you'll get it where it won't be an act. You just won't let things affect you the way that they will. Regain your emotional control. Next core principle, emotional detachment. This is not what it sounds like. It is not detaching yourself from your loved ones, your family, the way you think about them, the way they think about you. It's about detaching yourself and observing your own emotions. Best way to put this, and not letting them consume you, basically, and hurt you. Best way I could put this in layman's terms, I look at it like, it's like if you went to the beach and you've never been to that beach before and you're looking at the ocean, you wouldn't just jump in without, especially if you had a little baby or a young one, you wouldn't let them just jump in and let the waves not knowing how strong they are, take them away and be consumed by those waves. Smart thing to do. Educate yourself. You'd stand on the shoreline, you take a look at them, you see how those waves go, you get a little help, you go in, and you're better equipped to deal with it. It's the same thing with your mind. You don't want to let your emotions take the best of you where you act in haste. The whole point is to sit back, take a step back, observe your emotions, learn how to deal with them. Do not let them consume you. You're detaching yourself from your own emotions for your own better good. All right, core principle number 4, the power of calmness. This is a good one. I mean, again, this kind of falls in line with the thinking of controlling your own mind. If you think about this, any person who's calm, whatever the situation is, whether it be at work, a burning building, you're always going to look at that person with strength. Calmness does not make you powerless. It's your superpower. That's what gives you the ability to calm yourself, assess the situation, and make an educated decision as to how to deal with it. So, like I said, even if it's somebody in a burning building, the people that get hurt are the people that don't know what to do, the people that are just running around like crazy. But the person that's calm knows what to do. They're going to get out of that building and then probably help other people as well. So the power of calmness, again, is not a weakness. It's actually your superpower. Core principle number 5. Loss is not made to break you. It's made to test you. Listen, loss is inevitable. Life is going to have twists and turns. Every day presents different challenges. I'm not naive. I'm not sitting here telling you it's going to be easy. But what Stoic philosophy will teach you is loss is not meant to break you. Loss is basically meant to educate you, to strengthen you for the future. It's not about how many times you get hurt or how many times you allow yourself to get hurt. It's how you get up from that hurt or how to not let it drag you down. So again, loss hurts, it stings, but it's meant to teach you something, and you have to take that away from it. Okay, number 6, and I'm going to use a big word here, neuroplasticity. What that basically means is that's the ability that each person has to rewire their brain. Anybody who follows me knows I'm a big believer in it takes 27 days for something to become a habit. I've practiced gratitude with that. I'm hoping that the same thing will work with Stoic philosophy, and that's one of their core principles. Basically, and this is not the Stoic philosophy, but I did see on a podcast once, and it was pretty interesting. They said if you really take the time to think about it, sometimes part of the problem that we have is that we're taught at an early age things about ourselves that we're taught to feel that we don't have the ability to change because we're too young to change it. A stupid example of this. If you had a teacher in 2nd grade that made you feel dumb and you never took the time to rewire your brain, you're going to let that one person affect the way you do stuff and make you feel that way. Again, you're too young to stand up to her. You're too young to fight that fact, but you're taught a lot of things at an early age that are core that, quite frankly, might not be right. So now what neuroplasticity does, it gives you the ability to try to rewire your brain and regain control of your emotions. Next, be your own best shield against envy. Throughout life, people are going to be envious of you, whether you think they are or not. But at the end of the day, you have to know your own self-worth. It doesn't, quite frankly, matter what people think of you. The same way you're not going to be a better person just because somebody thinks very highly of you. You're not a worse of a person if somebody thinks less of you. The whole point of this is, again, self-worth. Know your own self-worth. Know your own self-value. If people are envious and they're throwing those slings and arrows your way, that's why you're building up that shield of self-confidence, of self-worth, regaining your own thoughts and your mind. So again, you want to be your own shield against envy, know your own self-worth, and be proud of that and be happy and content with that. Doesn't matter what people think of you, as long as you're your best version of yourself. The only thing that matters is what you think of you. Okay, next, and I think possibly the most important, that one of the biggest takeaway principles I get, the art of self-reflection. Basically, the Romans, the Stoic philosophers would actually keep journaling. That's what journaling started from. People like to keep journals and write their private thoughts down. That's where this started. But what they would do is they would use those as a tool. They would reflect on mistakes of the past and how they dealt in situations and how they wish they changed it. And they would basically try and better prepare themselves for situations in the future. They would think of worst case scenarios, like if somebody was going to hurt you or act in a certain way, how would you feel is the proper way to react? They would use journaling as a tool, again, to learn from the future, because we can't change it. There's no sense harping on it. You also can't predict the future, but what you can do is to try and better equip yourself to put yourself in a better situation. Think of, if this happens, how would I like to handle myself this way? If this situation arises, if this person says this to me, what would be the proper way to act? Gives you time to educate yourself about it, to learn how the proper way is that you would want to handle that situation and be better prepared when it happens. So the art of self-reflection and journaling. Okay, the next one, core principle, I think they were up to number 9 if I'm not mistaken. That would be stop reacting. Life owes you nothing. This is the truth, people. I know you don't want to hear it. And listen, I am the biggest one that's at fault of this. I have spent the majority of my life saying, I'm a good person. Why did I get Parkinson's? I'm a good person. Why did this happen to me? Why is this person doing this to me? Life isn't fair. It is what it is. Stoic philosophy is it's not about what should be. It's about what is. That's what you have to remember. Not why did this happen? Not why won't this happen? Why did this happen? It happened. I don't want to say get over it, but this is about better equipping yourself, your mind, to deal with those issues. Because ultimately what happens is the whole shoulda, woulda, coulda, why did this happen to me? Why didn't I get this promotion? Why didn't I get this? Why doesn't this person love me? That leads to frustration, and it tears your heart out. It will tear you down. So you can't do that. You have to stop reacting. Again, this is all part of better equipping yourself on how to deal with situations. But at the end of the day, the world owes you nothing. Whether you believe it or not, it really does not. Okay, guys, don't kill me, but I may have changed my mind. This might be the most important. Physical discipline leads to mental strength. We kind of all know this. I mean, even people who don't suffer from Parkinson's know that when you go to the gym, you feel better. There's a reason for that. It releases feel-good endorphins in your brain. Especially if you have Parkinson's, we all know how important it is to keep working out, to stay active, to stay moving. This is a great way, physical discipline, to not only keep you moving, but to strengthen your brain. Because at the end of the day, when you're at the gym and you can't go that extra mile and you feel like, like if you're jogging on a treadmill, you feel like, oh, that's it, I don't have any more. Trust me when I tell you, because I've done it. If you stick it out, just give it that extra. When you feel like you have nothing more, you're going to get, that's why they call it the second wind. You're going to wind up, something's going to click in. You're going to say, oh man, I'm over this barrier. I could defeat this. I could keep going. And then you'll keep going. So basically, if you discipline your body and your physical discipline, and you get to the gym where you stay active, or you stay motivated once a day, it's going to retrain this to allow you to think that you could do things that maybe you couldn't. Because the physical aspect of it, you're going to remember, hey, remember that day I was on the treadmill and I thought I couldn't do anymore? I felt like I was going to fall down. And man, I got through that extra half a mile, and then I went another 3. I caught that second wind. It's like that up here too. You're going to retrain yourself to think. There's going to be a discipline involved where things that you thought you couldn't do, now you're going to have the confidence to know that you can do it. Okay, next one. And again, this might be pretty big for people with Parkinson's too, because this kind of woke me up. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is a choice. Listen, we're all going to experience pain in our lives. Again, I'm not naive when I'm making this video. I know there are people going to try and hurt you. I know that we're going to experience hurt. Life is going to happen around you. We can't stop that. It's how we process it. Pain is going to happen. You're going to lose a loved one. Somebody's going to hurt you. You're going to feel down at times. In this world, you're going to feel down. I hate to say it, but a lot of the time, suffering is the conscious choice you make to allow that pain to affect you. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. For the past 2 days, the one thing I've practiced is, listen, we all know anybody with Parkinson's, we know we have symptoms. Dystonia, bradykinesia. I would let that consume me. I wouldn't want to go out. I wouldn't want to do anything. I'm at the point now where for the past 3 days, I didn't care how I felt. I almost embraced it. When I was slowing down, and I believe that's called bradykinesia, when everything gets real slow, you know what I said to myself? Maybe that's God's way of saying, hey, slow down. You're going through life too fast. And I embraced it. When I was shaken, I said, listen, I can't change it. It's part of me now. It is what it is. I used to sit in the parking lot of the gym and wait till I felt a little better for my pills to kick in to go in and work out. Today, I didn't care. I didn't care what people thought about me, because I only care how I make myself feel. So again, could that be painful it used to be painful to think that people would look at me a certain way, but at the end of the day, I made that choice for myself. That person didn't make me feel that way. I allowed them to make me feel that way. And 99.9% of the time, you're making yourself feel that way over nothing, because it's just your own insecurities. And trust me, nobody knows that better than me. And I've seen a huge difference in the past 2 days. So again, pain in life is going to be inevitable. It's going to happen with everybody. Suffering is optional. Don't choose to suffer. Deal with your pain better up here.
All right, guys. So just trying to wrap this up for you, giving you a brief explanation as to some of the benefits it can mean for you and how it can affect somebody like myself with Parkinson's. Stoic philosophy is going to teach you to develop a self-control as a means to overcome destructive emotions, because quite frankly, the only thing they're going to do is drag you down. It's about learning how to live in the now, learning how to protect your inner peace. The only thing in life that you truly could try and control is your mind. You can't control the past. You can't predict the future. The only thing those things are going to do is consume your mind, consume your energy. They're going to weigh you down. Many of us live with regrets of the past and wish we did things differently, but quite frankly, it's too late to change that. The only thing we can do is learn from it. And no matter how hard we try, we can't predict the future, so there's really no sense getting anxiety over it. I mean, the only thing you can do is try and be the best version of yourself, and quite frankly, that needs to be enough for only one person, yourself. I mean, no matter how hard you try, you cannot control how other people are going to treat you. You can't control if other people are going to love you, if they're going to hate you, if they're going to hurt you. Anybody with Parkinson's like myself knows that regardless of exercise or medication, the only thing that is definitely 100%, at least in my opinion, is that stress will always exacerbate your symptoms. I've seen it firsthand. I mean, there were times where I was having decent days, and I would get a call or an email or a text, and literally within minutes, I would just start spiraling and felt like I wanted to die. It just goes to show you how powerful the mind can be. Um, but in the same regard, in a negative way, it can make you spiral. If you really can control it, it should be able to make you feel good about yourself and good about the prospects of the future. Um, Listen, life sucks at times. There's so many variables, especially in the world that we live in. Hurt's inevitable, but at the end of the day, um, everything that's external is not a problem. It's your assessment of them that is truly important, and ultimately your ability to handle it that'll protect your inner peace. For the past few weeks, I've been practicing this, and I know I'm still learning the philosophy of it. And it certainly hasn't cured my Parkinson's or my symptoms. The basic principles, when applied, I've seen have definitely helped. For example, when my bradykinesia kicks in, everything starts going kind of slow, and your movements are very slow. I say to myself, that's God's way of slowing me down. Maybe God thinks I'm moving, through life too fast. I spent a decent part of my life since my diagnosis, worried about what people think, people that love me, people that don't love me, people in the public, about when my medication wears off, how am I going to look? And what this has really taught me is that we put too much of that pressure on ourselves, because most of the time that pressure really isn't even just there. We're just imagining it. When people throw stones at you too, that's typically a result of their inability to carry their own stones and their own insecurities. You can't let that be a problem in your life. Life is going to be hard. People are going to find ways to hate you, to mistreat you, to envy you, to point fingers. But that's what this philosophy teaches you, to live in the now, and build up those walls of security around you, so that the only thing that truly matters and the only thing that you can control is your mind. You have to be the best version of yourself. You could fully love others, but you can't make them love you. So at the end of the day, the only thing you truly have the ability to try to control is your mind and being the best version of yourself. And quite frankly, that doesn't need to be enough for anybody but yourself. Love you guys. Keep shaking.